I, R. Crumb, the illustrator of this book, have, to the best of my ability, faithfully reproduced every word of the original text, which I derived from several sources, including the King James Version, but mostly from Robert Alter's recent translation of the 5 Books of Moses, 2004. In a few places I ventured to do a little interpretation of my own if I thought the words could be made clearer, but I refrained from indulging too often in such creativity, and sometimes let it stand in its convoluted vagueness rather than monkey around with such a venerable text. Every other comic book version of the Bible that I've seen contains passages of completely made-up narrative and dialogue, in an attempt to streamline and modernize the old scriptures. And still, these various comic book Bibles all claim to adhere to the belief that the Bible is, quote, the Word of God, unquote, or, quote, inspired by God, unquote. Whereas I, ironically, do not believe that the Bible is the Word of God. I believe it is the words of men. It is nonetheless a powerful text with layers of meaning that reach deep into our collective consciousness, our historical consciousness, if you will. It seems indeed to be an inspired work, but I believe its power derives from its having been a collective endeavor that evolved and condensed over many generations before reaching its final fixed form as we know it during the Babylonian exile circa 600 BCE. It was the priestly caste who, in that period, compiled and put into a cohesive order this collection of stories, legends, and tribal lineages, sometimes weaving together 2 different versions of the same story, and proclaimed the finished product a sacred, holy document, the scrolls that became objects of veneration for privileged eyes only. The stories of this people, the Hebrews, were then something more than just stories. They were the foundation, the source in writing of religious and political power handed down by God Himself.